Hi everybody, it's Geordie from Geordie's Cards. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to be showing you this Lawn Fawn platform pop-up card I used with some Easter stamps that I had. It's the Easter before and afters, and I also used the rain or shine before and afters. I used the little rainbow from that one. So I started out by stamping out my images. I decided to use pretty much all of the bunnies. I used the one in the basket and then the one painting the egg and the one holding the egg. And like I say, I used that little rainbow and cloud image from the rain or shine before and afters. These stamp sets are fairly new to me. I haven't had them for very long and I haven't used them yet. So yeah, I kind of wanted to get some use out of them and wanted to make an Easter card. And I thought this would be a good way to try out the platform pop-up. It's my first time using it. So I wanted to have a go with that. And I kind of wanted to keep things fairly simple today. So I'm just stamping out the images using Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink, which is a nice Copic friendly ink. And I've stamped them out a couple of times because they are new. I actually forgot to wipe these. Normally I wipe my stamps, but I forgot to do that. So they did stamp out okay. And now I'm just going in with the colouring. So I'm going to do all of my bunnies the same. I'm using E53, E52 and E50, I want to say. I will write down the colours in the comments below, so you can check out whatever colours I've used there if I get it wrong. And then I remembered that I should probably zoom in a little bit to show you exactly what I'm doing. You have to bear with me today in the coming weeks. I had my operation on Monday and I got out of hospital on Thursday, so I'm still recovering. And unfortunately, crafting is something that I can do, but I can't do it particularly well. Sounds ridiculous, but I can't lean forward over my craft desk to get close to see exactly what I'm doing. So my colouring might not be perfect today. I did my best. I think it's okay, but it was just a little bit of a challenge. But it's so nice to be back in my craft room and back out of hospital and on the road to recovery. So that's really, really good. So the little bunnies, I did them all exactly the same. I love this colour combination for the bunnies. They just look so cute. Just a really pale kind of, I don't know, creamy beigey colour. But they look very cute. I just didn't go over the top with my colouring today. I don't even think I bothered doing 2 coats. Just went in with 1 coat and then used my R20 marker to shade in the ears, the little noses, and add some cheeks. Generally you do this with my critters because I think it makes them just look a little bit cute. And they're not realistic images, so I don't go overboard trying to make them look realistic. I just like to make them look kind of cute and cheerful, I guess. So I went back in with my lighter shade just to do the tails because I had forgotten to do that. And now I'm going in with my E40 markers, E44, E43 and E42, I want to say. Again, I'll write these down below. And I'm using these colours for the basket. I wanted to do something different from the colour of the rabbits. So the basket, I wanted it to look kind of, I'm going to say a darker, deeper brown. So the E40s were a good choice for that. Still not, I want to keep the colours in this card fairly pastel. So I don't want to go with anything too dark or deep. But this was just a slightly bit darker and a slight different shade of brown for the basket. So again, just fairly simple colouring as always with me. Just using 3 shades in this one, a light, a medium and a dark. And I always start off with my dark marker, lay in my shadow, go in with my lighter marker and then blend out with my lightest. And I did just go back in with the darkest to add a little bit more detail. Okay, for my red-pink combination, I'm going with R81, R83 and R85. I love this colour combination. It's very much a rose pink colour, and I just love it, really like it. So I'm using that for my bow on my basket and also for the basket lining. And again, I've got 3 shades going in with my darkest, then my medium, then my lightest. And just, adding some shading and a little bit of detail. I just wanted this card to be very spring-like, use lots of spring kind of colours. So that's why I've gone for this kind of pastel shade, pastel colours. And I really like this pink combination. It's really, really pretty. And it's more a red pink than a blue pink, if that makes sense. I don't know if that does, but it makes sense to me. Now I'm going in with my kind of orange combination, which was YR000, YR00, and YR02. Again, I love this colour combination. It's such a pretty soft orange, very pastel, very pretty. So I'm doing one of the eggs in the basket and one of the eggs that the bunny is holding. And I will go ahead and do one of the stripes on the rainbow with this colour, but I will do that later. And I'll also do the first stripe on the rainbow in those pink colours that I used for the bow. For my green, I guess it's a green, BG11 and BG10. I probably could have gone with something like G00 and G02. I really like this colour. It's kind of like a duck egg blue. It's not particularly green though, and I probably should have gone with a green to give it a little bit more contrast with the blue colours that I used. But it's okay. My yellows, Y02 and Y00. Again, just very pale pastel shades, and I really like them. I'm just adding a little bit of that to the paintbrush as well. And then for my blue colour combination, B00 and B000, I think it was, or quadruple 0. Again, I'll write these down below. So you can see my blue is probably not that different to my my green. I probably could have done with going with different shades, but it's okay. I'm okay with it. It works. Okay, so onto the rainbow. As I said, I'll start with my R80 markers. So I just used the lighter two, R81 and R83. And I'm going to do one of the stripes in that colour. So this is kind of like my red on my rainbow, I suppose. And just putting the darker colour at the base of the rainbow and then blending out towards the top. Excuse me. Then with my orange, YR02, YR00, if I get them around the right way, doing exactly the same thing, laying in the darker marker at the bottom and then blending out with my lighter towards the top. I just love the way these colours work together. My yellows, Y02 and Y00. And I just think they look really pretty and really spring-like, very pastel, really lovely for Easter. So that was the idea behind these markers. And I have used this colour combination on a different card previously. It's one that I didn't record, unfortunately, but I really like it. And so here you can see I could do with my green being a bit greener. It's blue-green, so it's not hugely differentiated from the blue, but it's okay. I can live with it. So I took my lightest blue marker and I just added some colour to the clouds, just a little bit. I didn't bother going in with a 0 marker to blend that out. It does soften down as it dries, so it's fine. And then I used my yellow and used the 2 yellows, for the center of the sun, and then the oranges for the outside of the sun. So again, really, really simple colouring. It was quite difficult for me to do this today, so I just wanted it to be easy and simple and straightforward, and yeah, I think it worked okay. So off camera, I will go ahead and fussy cut those out. I don't have the coordinating dies. Just going to add some white gel detail to parts of that. add a little bit to the cheeks of the bunnies, add some shine marks to the eggs and the basket. And it was a bit clogged up for some reason, didn't want to work. So I had to off camera try and get it going, in which it did eventually. But yeah, just add a few shine marks, make a few little extra details on there. And then, as I say, off camera, I went ahead and fussy cut these out. I don't have coordinating dies. I don't often buy coordinating dies for everything. So I'm quite happy to fussy cut, and actually it's something that I can actually do quite well when I'm incapacitated as I am at the moment. So there we are, they're all cut out, and now I'm going to the platform pop-up, and I'm taking the new Flower Market paper, and I'm taking this green, which is going to be my grass. And then I had a scrap of the blue Spiffy Speckles paper, and I'm going to use that for the platform pop-up add-on, which I'm going to add to this to make it my sky. So this is the very first time I've made one of these platform pop-ups, and I have to say the construction was relatively easy, but my die didn't score the score lines particularly well, and I probably should have been a little bit more careful and gone and rescored them with my scoreboard, or even run it through the die cutting machine a few extra times to get the score marks looking better on there so that they showed up a little bit more. But it was okay, it worked. It probably I will probably do better next time now that I know these bits and pieces, but it was okay. I think it turned out not too bad in the end. I had a few mishaps with it, and I'll keep that in to show you, because you know, we all make mistakes, and sometimes it's good to see other people making mistakes and how they fix them. So I'm literally just folding along all the score lines. As I say, in some places it didn't score these particularly well, so I think in future I will probably put it through the die cutting machine a couple more times and then reinforce those score marks with my score tool. So that one I was a bit confused about, because there was absolutely no score line whatsoever at the top of that one. Forgive me for being off camera here, I was trying to figure out what was going on with this. But I just ended up folding all the other pieces in first, and then off camera I went and folded the top part, which does need to be folded. So I added score tape to all the flaps that needed score tape. There's actually only 2 flaps on each piece and on the T part. And then I was trying to figure out how it goes together, and just like that, you slide the T part through to the back. And then you want to start with the T fold, which you're going to fold over first. Again, I'm just checking those score marks because it looked a little bit wonky. I just wanted to make sure everything was going to be okay. So removed the backing paper for the adhesive on the T part, and then just fold that under. So you're going from that first score line, you're going to fold that over and stick that down. And then remove the backing paper off the adhesive for that flap, which really didn't want to come off today. And then you're going to fold that up. It's like going up one step, and you're going to adhere that to the back of the card just below the scallops. And you can see how it kind of is going to come together. It makes this little, almost a hexagon, half a hexagon shape. So that part done. I had already done the other part off camera, so it was just time to pop them together. But first of all, you have to get the third T shape to make the next little platform, if you like. You just want to remove the tab piece from that one. You won't be needing it. And all you're going to do is pop some double-sided tape onto that kind of thicker part of the T. And then you're going to adhere that down onto the kind of the middle part of the box, if that makes sense. Those 2 middle parts are going to stick together to create the full hexagon shape of the box. So just going to remove the backing paper. Again, I'm having lots of trouble with this backing paper today. And once I've done that, I'm going to line that up with the T. Now I squished mine flat, I found that easier, and I just had the thin part of the T kind of in line with the score mark of that kind of that first score mark you can see there, and then I just lined the T up with the other one and stuck it down, and I think it was okay. I think it was in the right place. Then added double-sided adhesive to these two just to one side of this kind of half of the box, and I used 3 strips there to keep it nice and sturdy and well stuck down. And I will say it was relatively easy to create this. I did, as I say, I had a little bit of trouble. I probably should have reinforced my score marks, made sure everything was in the right place. I did end up having to take this apart again off camera and stick it back together because I got it rather wonky, and it didn't quite work as well as I would have liked it to. So with that in mind, word of warning to anybody trying this at home, make sure that you get everything lined up nicely. Make sure that your score marks are in the right place and that you can reinforce those. You can see there at the bottom that they're completely off center. So as I say, off camera, I took them apart, and there was unfortunately a little tear in the top of the box, but I didn't want to waste the paper. I've only got one of these paper pads, and I'm so sorry that everything's off camera. I was literally just adhering the 2 sides together. So now I have my platform pop-up, and you can see that little tear in the top. You're not going to notice it too much when the card is finished, so I decided to live with it. As I say, this wasn't perfect. It was my first try, and it turned out okay. So now I'm just taking the add-on piece, and I am actually off camera. I did go ahead and reinforce those folds, and then I stuck it down just with some double-sided tape to the back of the box to create my kind of sky piece. And I also stuck on those little grass pieces. I staggered those. I just cut little slivers off the ends of each one to make them kind of step down, so longer grass at the back and shorter grass at the front. And now it's just a case of putting everything together. So I'm using my Craft Tacky glue from Tonic, and I'm just going to adhere everything down. I wasn't 100% happy with this one today. As I say, I had a few little mishaps with it. It didn't quite go together as well as I would have liked. But in the end, it turned out okay. I think it turned out all right. I will know for future when I come to make one of these platform pop-ups that I will need to make sure I have all the score lines clearly visible on the box before I try and put it together. And you know what? That's part of creating these things, isn't it? It was fun to have a go. And actually it is very easy to put together. There's nothing too technical with it. I think most people could manage it, and I think after a couple of goes, hopefully I will master it and get it just right. But today it was kind of about having a play around, having a go, just getting back in my craft room after my op, and yeah, getting back on my feet again a little bit. So I was trying to get my tweezers to hold this together, but my tweezers were a little bit heavy for the box, so I just decided to leave it, and actually they stuck down fine in the end. So there we go. I'm holding it on with the tweezers, but then I decided, no, you know what? I'm just gonna leave it. I think it's okay. So I stuck my little bunny with the basket on the back piece of grass. I stuck my my rainbow right at the back in the sky, and then I'm going to put this little bunny. I'm going to put him onto the left-hand side. As you look at it, that's where the little tear was. I did actually take a Copic marker, which I tried to match up with the colour of the paper, and I coloured it so it wasn't so obvious. And then that little guy is hopefully going to cover it up a little bit as well. And then this little guy is going to go to the right-hand side. so that it evens out. And I apologize that you can only see the top. I will turn this, tilt it around so you can see it slightly better. And then, yeah, again, trying to use my tweezers, and it just wasn't happening for me today. But just adhering everything down, and I just used liquid glue. And it's a very simple card, nothing majorly fancy, but I think it turned out quite nice. A few mishaps, but it's a learning curve, and I will know for next time. So to finish off, I did cut a little bow. This was from the Perfectly Plaid rainbow collection that they've just released. And I really like the purple and the green. I think it's really pretty together. So I decided to use this little purple check, purple gingham, to make my little bow for the front of the box. So just creating the bow first. It's very easy to do. You take the kind of the fishtail pieces and you stick the bow piece on top, and then the little kind of knot goes right in the center of that. And I was really struggling today because I have to sit so far back. I kind of have to slouch as I'm sitting because I had an operation on my leg, and I can't kind of bend my leg too far at the moment. It's quite tricky. So yeah, it was a bit of a learning curve. Again, I got these ribbon pieces, and they didn't have the score lines in them at all. So again, something that I'm going to have to be aware of next time. But I think I managed to figure it out just by I kind of eyeballed it, to be honest. It probably wasn't the most accurate, but it turned out okay. I just kind of had a look at it, figured out where the crease needed to be, and then just folded it. Because they were quite small pieces, that was okay, and it seemed to work all right. But again, that's something I'm going to have to think about when I come to make it next time. So I just did the same with the other one, kind of lined it up, eyeballed where I needed to put the crease, and then folded the crease into it. And there we have it. And then I can just go ahead and use, again, I'm going to use my liquid glue. Now I actually decided to adhere this when it was flat. I found that easier. So I popped it down and I just added some liquid glue to the back of it, and then was able to stick it on nicely. So I actually found that by having it flat, I could line it up and get it straighter than I could if it was kind of folded up and popped up. So for me, that worked well. I guess it's whatever works best for you. But this way, I found easier for me. So just adhering both sides, and then once that's done, that will be my pop-up finished. As I said, probably not my best effort today, but all things considered, I'm fairly happy with it, and I think it worked quite well. Lots of things that I've learnt today, especially with the dies that I have, just making sure that I can see those score lines properly, maybe running it through the die cutting machine 2 or 3 times, reinforcing those scores with my own score tool. So it's a learning process, and I think next time I come to make one, it will probably turn out better. But I think this is kind of cute, and I'm sure it will make somebody smile. So there we go, all complete. I really hope you enjoyed this one today. I really apologise that it's not perfect. As I say, I'm still recovering, so I'm going to give myself a break. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you'll join me again. Please give me a thumbs up, or feel free to subscribe or leave a comment.